Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Dollar rebound holding ground, risk positive bias begins to weigh on gold. Video analysis. http ntvforex.com news ID 60A1B48112020 11:48 1 AM market overview. There is a mildly positive tone to risk appetite today through major markets, but it is also interesting to see the dollar also holding strength. With Treasury yields ticking higher and a bull steepeningâ on the yield curve developing, longer dated yields rising faster than shorter dated, the dollar is beginning to look primed for recovery. Although it had roots in extremely oversold positioning and a better than expected payrolls report on Friday, there does not seem to be too much to drive which is driving the move today. Notably, the tit-for-tat deterioration in diplomatic relations between the US and China continues, as both put sanctions on individuals, leaving questions over the trade talks which are scheduled for this week. Despite this, the risk-positive tone is supporting equity markets, but along with support for the dollar, we are finally seeing gold beginning to correct. The yellow metal is back under $2,000 this morning. Also, silver, which should be renamed a gold on steroids, is turning sharply lower. Sterling traders will be watching the reaction to UK unemployment, which was announced early today and broadly came in better than expected for the June data, although the July claimant count was higher than expected. Wall Street closed mixed last night. The Dow closed decisively higher, but after days of huge tech gains, a degree of profit-taking hit the sector, dragging the Nasdaq lower, and weighed on the S&P 500 0.3% at 3,360. Despite this, the mildly positive tone to risk is helping US futures slightly higher today, E-mini S&P's 0.1%. Asian markets were positive overnight with the Nikkei 1.9% after returning from public holiday on Monday, whilst the Shanghai Composite was 1.1%. European markets look set fair, with FTSE futures C 1% and DAX futures 1%. In the Forex majors, the risk-positive vibe is resulting in the USD just pulling back slightly after a couple of days of recovery, and JPY underperformance. In commodities, gold is over 1% lower, whilst silver is 3%. Oil is mixed, although supported by the risk-positive bias and news of Iraq looking to improve its compliance with OPEC production cuts. On the economic calendar, Euro traders will be looking out for the German ZEW economic sentiment at 1000 BST, which will give an further indication of how the German economy is re-emerging from the pandemic. Consensus is expecting a slight deterioration into 58.0 in August from 59.3 in July, with the current conditions component improving to 68.8 from 80.9 in July. U.S. factory gate inflation is at 1330 BST, with the U.S. PPI, which is expected to see headline PPI improving slightly to 0.7% in July from 0.8% in June, whilst core PPI is expected to drop back to 0 from 0.1% in June. NBSP chart of the day. A silver. So much focus has been on the incredible run higher of precious metals in recent weeks. Gold always takes the headlines, but the performance has been dwarfed by that of silver. The threat of a dollar rally has weighed on several major markets, and silver has been holding up relatively well, that is until this morning. A big bull move in the past week has formed a run of higher daily lows, but with a move below yesterday's low at $27.85, this sequence has now been broken. This is an initial breach of the bull trend, but is it moving into reversal? A retreat to the 3-week uptrend could be seen, which is way back around $26.15 today. Positive daily momentum is beginning to falter, but there is no outright corrective signals yet, with RSI still above 70, stochastics above 80, whilst MACD lines are higher, NBSP end. However, given the strong run higher, we have to still be mindful of retracement signals. The hourly chart shows the importance of $27.35 as support is growing, as it could become a neckline of a top pattern. A close below $27.35 would complete the reversal and imply $2.50 of downside target. Initial resistance around $28.50 is a near-term pivot, and at $29.40 under the multi-year high of $29.84. NBSP Brent crude oil. The recovery on oil is really difficult to get excited by. After the upside breakout above $45 last week, the bulls would have been looking to extend their targets, only to have their enthusiasm curbed into the weekend. However, despite this still being a case of 2 steps forward and 1 step back, once more, it is the corrections that seem to be the opportunity to buy, and not the breakout. A move back into the support band $42.90–$44.90 has started to build support again. With Friday's reaction low at $44.25, we see oil edging back higher once more. A continually positive bias to momentum indicators: RSI between 50 and mid-60s, stochastics between 50–85 and MACD lines above neutral, reflect this mildly positive bias. So it is still all about timing the entry points and using weakness as a chance to buy. Support at $41.30 is increasingly important, whilst the bulls will now look to build again from $42.90. A close above $45.20 would be another step forward, whilst resistance is at last week's high of $46.25. Beyond that, the bulls can look towards $50 again. NBSP Dow Jones Industrial Average. With 7 successive positive closes, the Dow has pushed decisively forward once more. The market has also now driven through the key resistance of the June high at 27,580 with a solid bullish candlestick. This is the next important step forward for the Dow. The Nasdaq has been hitting all-time highs consistently, whilst the S&P 500 is less than 1% off its own all-time high. Now, in removing the resistance of the June rebound high, the Dow bulls can now look towards its own all-time high at 29,569. Momentum is strong, although there is a slight caveat in the sluggish MACD lines. Despite this, RSI is in the high 60s and stochastics extremely strong too. The breakout above 27,580 means that 27,580 becomes around 500 ticks of strong breakout support now to use to bolster any near-term slip. The next resistance is the old February bear gap, with 28,400 up towards 28,890. NBSP. Read more analysis here. Euro USD, GBP USD, USD JPY, Gold. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors.